The Lord be with you.
And your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostle said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Well, one you would say to your servant, who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table.' Will you not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We are almost back at 1,000. See? Great. It was a very controversial movie at the time, back in 1968. Does anybody here remember, as I do, great movie, Academy Award-winning movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Yeah, it was Spencer Tracy, the great Spencer Tracy's last movie. I believe Katharine Hepburn won an Oscar for her performance. And Sidney Poitier and Catherine Houghton played a young interracial couple that were going to get married. Very controversial for the time. Of course, Sidney Poitier, great African-American actor, Academy Award winner in his own right. He played a doctor who had proposed to Spencer Tracy and Catherine Hepburn's daughter. And not only raised eyebrows and concerns on her side, but Sidney Poitier's parents weren't really excited about it either. And there's this great scene, because everybody is gathering at Spencer Tracy and Catherine Hepburn's house. Guess who's coming to dinner? Well, your future black son-in-law and his parents. And so everybody's gathered, and Sidney Poitier's dad pulls him into a room to talk with him. And he pours out a ration of grief to tell him that he's making a mistake, and what does he think he's doing, marrying a white woman, and this, that, and the other thing. Do you know how hard I worked my whole life? You're going to screw up your life now? And the guy with it was a mailman. Do you know how many miles I carried that mail sack for you? And this is the way you pay me back? And Sidney Poitier, if you remember Sidney Poitier, he was an intense actor, You remember, they call me Mr. Tibbs. Well, he went into that kind of a routine where he says to his father, he says, "Dad, you have got to get off my back." He says, "I don't care if you carry that mail sack 1,000,000 miles, man. You did, you are my father." And I'll throw in this paraphrase, "You are my father. That's what you signed up for. You did what you were supposed to do. You did only what you were supposed to do. You carried that mail sack to give me a life. And now I'm a grown man, and it's my choice what to do with that life." But that was Jesus' message to his disciples and to us. When we think maybe, look at all the neat things we're doing for God and God's people. Boy, we really deserve, a reward or a little pat on the back, or we must be entitled to something above and beyond most people. And see, that's where Jesus wants to give us a little course correction. I happen to think that Jesus is very happy with us and very grateful to us. But I think as soon as we feel like, well, let's show a little love, Lord. Let's, just show us how special we are. It's course correction. Wait a second. You got to remember, you're not entitled to anything. You did. He's given us the old city portrait. You did what you were supposed to do. That's your duty. That's what you signed up for when you said that you would follow me as my disciple. It is our duty, and incidentally our privilege, to serve the Lord. And we should do it because it pleases Him and because we chose to answer His call to be His disciple. We should not be doing it for any recognition or appreciation or reward. When I was an aspiring actor, what do you mean was? But when I was in high school, and really I was in the drama club, and I was an English major in college, and I read so much drama. I've been on stage, and and Betsy Wright's drama class in Marlboro High School, she was taught us the method acting form. You got to feel it. What's my motivation? You would ask, what's my motivation in this scene? Because you could, you have to play the subtext too. For example, I know this is kind of a jaunt through Hollywood Golden Age, but there's a great novel called Monument Square by Henry James, but that was made into at least an equally great movie called The Heiress, starring Montgomery Clift and Olivia de Havilland. And in this particular story, it's kind of ambiguous, but Montgomery Clift plays the perfect suitor, the perfect boyfriend. Olivia de Havilland's, and she knows it too. She's not, in this movie, not the most raving beauty. She's kind of plain. But she is an heiress. She's got a lot of money. And again, another father-child situation here. Her father can kind of see through Montgomery Clift that he's a charmer because he's after her money. So he's saying, think about it, dear. What's his motivation? Is he really that much in love with you? No, he's that perfect. Or is he just playing? Is he pretending to love you because he's in love with the idea of inheriting your fortune? So what's his motive? What's our motivation? Is our motivation pure, in other words? Are we doing it for the right reasons? Are we doing it because the Lord commands us to do it? Are we doing it for love of Him and for love of His children and our brothers and sisters? Or are we doing it for, and let me just say this right now, very, very difficult in this world to have perfectly pure motivation. The idea is that we keep working on it, working on purifying motivation. And so we have to keep asking ourselves, what is driving us? Because if it is for some sort of a reward, an earthly reward, if it is some sort of pat on the back, if it is so that people will think we're a swell person, that's not going to keep us going. It's going to keep us going is to know that it pleases the Lord and that it's the right thing to do and that we derive true joy when we give of ourselves. As the saying goes, a job well done is its own reward. That's what they used to tell me at digital when they would have races one year. But it's true, a job well done is its own reward. So this brings us to the idea and the question, is Jesus really, in his heart of hearts, does he really think of us as unprofitable servants? No. But he wants us to think of ourselves as that, to remind us that we deserve nothing. He's the one who suffered and died to save us. He's the one who gave us life, abilities, and the desire to serve. And it is only with his help and grace that we accomplish anything in his name. I believe Jesus treasures our efforts to serve him in his heart of hearts and our neighbor. And he rewards us gratification we experience by giving ourselves is one of His best gifts. And again, this is kind of a jog through the movie world, but there was a movie that came out back in 1996, Marvin's Room. It starred Meryl Streep and Diane Keaton, and a very young Leonardo DiCaprio, and a very old Hume Cronin. And Diane Keaton get an Oscar nomination for playing a woman who's struggling with cancer herself, and yet is the primary caregiver for her father, who's bedridden. And Meryl Streep plays the kind of the prodigal sister, the selfish sister, who's not been on the scene and not very helpful. But she does come home, and she does see her sister, Diane Keaton, pouring herself out in her own illness, in her own struggling with her own stuff, loving and serving their dad so well. And finally, at the end of the movie, she says, how do you do it? How do you do it? Why do you do it? And she says, I guess the short answer says it's for the love. And Meryl Streep says, oh yeah, Dad must, even though he's not too clear up here, he must show you a lot of love. And she says, you don't get it, sis. It's not the love that I'm getting. I do it for the love that I'm able to give to Him. The love that I'm able to give to Him. And that really is what's going to keep us going. Back in the 17th century, the British minister, Reverend Philip Henry, is the one who's ultimately credited with coming up with the phrase, all this in heaven too. Yes, God gives us consolations. If we get any appreciation, that's a gift. Just being able to use our talents and to give love is the great gift. But the Reverend Henry used to say, when he appreciated and counted those blessings, he would say to his son, who was the one who recorded this in a book for posterity, he used to say, all this in heaven too. So if we keep our motivation pure and persevere in faith, love, and service, then we get the best that God can give us in this